Okay. All right. So yeah, good to see you. This is the 8th theory class. I'm going to do a little recap on stuff we've learned, but I'm not going to go over it. I'm just going to see the big picture of what we looked at and how it sort of interconnects. And if anyone's got any questions, to just fire away. And we're going to look at a few other things. I'll show you the PowerPoint anyway. Let me just get it going. It's going to be a practical one today anyway. You'll be glad to know. Yeah, let's just get Alina's thingy going.
You're on twice now.
I'm twice. Yeah, I think she's probably put another device on. Can you hear me, Alina? She's in Italy, so it's a fair distance away.
Just a bit. Not in Warrington, anyway.
It's not Warrington. Bet it's hot there, isn't it?
It bloody isn't.
Not Warrington, I mean Italy.
All right.
Right, okay. It's bloody miserable, isn't it?
Oh,
Are they eating on this afternoon?
I'll just message you very quickly. I'll just say, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's going to be beautiful weather tomorrow, gentlemen. So don't fret.
what, in Barnsley?
Well, yes, but I hope actually in Fulford, where I'm playing golf tomorrow.
Oh, Romford.
Ah,
Romford, Essex, yeah.
Fulford, Ryder Cup course.
Oh,
York.
right. Okay.
ooh, lovely.
Romford.
Bloody Romford, you're kidding?
I think she's got a third device coming on now.
My God.
Blow me down. A third devote. She can't get enough of the lesson, can she?
I know, it's got to see it from 3 different angles. All right.
Hey, Rick.
All right, here's the third device. Can you see us, Alina? I'll move the other ones, remove the other ones.
Come in, Copenhagen.
Nil plan.
Okay, I'm just going to crack on with it and I'll just keep an eye on her trying to enter the room. So, okay, theory lesson 6. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the major scale against the chord sequence. So what I want you to do is to be able to play the scale just as you would do like with the blues scale and pentatonic. We're just going to use the major scale and I want you to be able to use it and make it musical, because there's nothing worse than running up and down a scale and it sounding a bit boring because you're just going up and down a scale. I think she's connecting now. That's good. Okay, so let me just I'll just do this. So if anyone's got anything to say, just unmute yourself. Okay, so and then we're going to look at multiple devices to make it sound interesting. So that's like little tips and tricks, like I've just said. So it's not a scale you're playing. Okay, and then we're going to learn about octaves as well if we got time. So just to clarify what we've learned so far. So we've been working on major scales, how they're constructed, semitones, tones, because I want to relate everything back to major scales so you can always relate it to something we've done. You know, we've done a lot of major scales, and we've done a lot with listening to scales. I don't know if you remember listening to the interval jumps. We've done intervals, so like your 1 to 5, 1 to 4. So we've done a lot of major scales. Hey, Alina, I can see you now. Hey, you okay? We got there. Yeah, so I'm just recapping on what we've done over the period of time.
Okay.
Over 8
Sorry.
years. Yeah, no worries. So, yeah, and we've listened. We've actually sung it. We sung the intervals and we physically played them on guitar as well. So we've looked at how chords are constructed out of the major scale. So going back to the major scale, it's important to know that, to know how the chords are constructed. And we started to read rhythms and understand about timing. That was something we looked at. Families of chords, how the chords are connected, identifying chords, how the chords are constructed. And relative minor, to know that not everything's a major key it's a minor or a major. They're the two most popular keys. Some songs you play are predominantly minor sounding, minor chords. So to know that that's not a major key. But we looked at the fact that major and minor scales are really connected. They are virtually the same notes. So don't worry if I'm just brushing over this, because we will bring this all back through the weeks and that. So different major scale positions across the fretboard and how to transition into them. So learning the whole fretboard and not being restricted. Okay, so the plans for the near future are going to be able to play the major scale with musicality, to make it not so static and boring and just running up and down a scale. And have confidence to do this everywhere on the fretboard and play the major scale in any key. So once we've done it, then you can find out the key of your song and have fun soloing round any song you want. So these are the main things I want to talk to focus on the next few sessions. I want you to unlock the guitar and be able to play everywhere. And we sort of touched on it, but I want to push it a bit further and make you really understand it. Okay. So how to make scales interesting? What are devices? What would you class as a device? Does anyone know what that might be a device you could use on a scale?
Different techniques, different ways of playing.
Yeah,
it.
what type of techniques?
Like doing hammer-ons or skipping different notes or
things like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're on the page. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a scale. We're going to look at not the full 6 strings. We're just going to focus on a very small portion, because I think when you're looking at the whole 6 strings, like, let me just make myself a little bit bigger. When you're looking at the whole 6 strings like that, you're focusing too much on what notes to play. Now we strip it down to just a couple of notes and restrict ourselves to a tiny portion of notes. Then we can think about what we're going to do to them without getting confused with what notes to play. So what I want you to do is I'm going to give you very strict instructions on each little device, and you're going to play around with it, and then we'll go to another device. And ultimately, we'll probably learn like 9 or 10 devices, and then it's a case of throwing them all in a bag, shaking them up, and randomly doing them. Because when you listen to a solo, it's the reason it's so interesting, a solo, is because there's so many little nuances happening. That's how you keep people's interest. Okay, so let's look at the scale we're going to use is the next scale along. We've done the G and the E shape scale, but now we're going to look at the D shape. So it's still a G major scale. And if you can see here, it starts on the 5th fret. And I want you to start with your 2nd finger there. See, it's on the 4th string. So go on the 4th string, and and it'll sound like this. Does my guitar sound all right, by the way? Because maybe, yeah. Is that distorted? Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so that's the 5th and 7th fret, but you want to start with your 2nd finger and then your 4th finger. Alina, can you still hear me? Right, and then what you want to do is go to the 3rd string and use your 1st finger. So that's why you use your 2nd finger here. So you can use your 1st finger here. So using your 1st, 2nd and 4th finger. So you can start to hear the major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Okay. Now what you have to do is something called shifting out of position here now. So you can see that you've got this 3rd string spanning over 4 frets, but also is this 2nd string. So you need to start that with your 1st finger. So you've got to shift a fret up. Yeah, so start this with your 1st finger, this 2nd string, and it goes the 1st finger, 3rd and 4th. So there, it should sound like this up to now. And that's the classic sound of the major. So Alina, yeah, when you come down to this 2nd string, use your 1st finger there on this note. Let's get my little red dot there. This This one you got to change to your first finger, so you can use your first, third and fourth. We're going to just be working with this scale today. Now on the last string, you just move down a string and do exactly the same on this first string there. So just practice going up and down it. If you're struggling with it, just let me know. Okay, so start on the fourth string, then shift your shape over. So is everyone happy that it sounds like a major scale to them? If it doesn't, if it sounds like some Egyptian scale, then just let me know. But it should sound like the scale we know that we've done in the past couple of sessions. Okay, so I want you to just keep practicing it, really get it under your fingers, learn to memorize it as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some chords for you, and the very first step is not to really make any music out of it, just run up and down the scale. I'm going to play some chords, and I want you to use your ears and hear that them notes fit with the chords, okay? That's the main thing, that you realise they fit. Because if you accidentally hit a note which is outside of here, it'll sound like a clanger. Do you know what I mean? I want you to be aware of wrong notes and right notes. Okay, I'm just going to start strumming some chords. So you just keep carrying on up and down the scale. You don't have to do any rhythms. Just play it in your own time. So just up and down, nice and simple. Don't have to do anything flash. Okay. Now just give me a nod or a shake of your head. Did you hear that them notes fit with the chords? Yeah? So we know that the notes work. So it's actually making some music out of it.
Was that the key of G that you was playing?
Yeah. So yeah, I was playing the family of chords in G.
Right.
So it wouldn't have mattered to me what chords in G I played, really. Because all that G, A minor, E minor, C add 9 and D, they all work in G. I was just floating about them chords. So, okay, so that's showing you how the family of chords ties in with this now. Okay, so your next exercise, and I know you might have some ideas of improvising, but I want you to really stick to these rules, because sticking to the rules just pushes you a little bit out of your comfort zone if you've got any preempted versions of improvising. So here, I want you to go between two notes now and stay on a single note. Yeah, so what I mean by that is I've got the scale. I might run up a few notes and then I might go. So go in between two notes. And then I might stay on one note. So what I'm trying to do is get you out of running up and down it like a scale now. I don't want you to run up and down like a scale. I want you to just go to two notes and then stick on one note and try and stick to that principle. Don't stray off it, because these are all different devices you can use. Right, so I'm going to give you some chords now. So between two notes, and then you can stick on a note as well. Okay, so hopefully that would have got you out of the running up and down it like a scale. Do you thumbs up or thumbs down? Like yes? Do you think that? Yeah, good. Rather than me asking each one of you, if you just do a general thumbs up and thumbs down, it'd be quicker.
Can you just do literally any messing about with that? You can just go
Yeah.
any way you like.
I'm just trying to get you out of just running up and down it like a scale.
Okay.
So for this one, you just
Just
go.
one thing, sorry.
Yeah.
When you go up, is that happy, and when you go down is sad, or that's
No,
the rule?
it's
Okay.
all in a major key.
Right. Okay.
It's
fine.
all gonna sound pretty happy. Although I'm strumming it in a solemn way, it's still major.
No, it wasn't that. I just thought that was the, like the major minor thing.
No.
Happy major, yeah.
Totally
okay.
not. You can go. There, I was traveling downwards and it sounded jolly, like a little jig. So yeah, no, you're sticking with the scale and it'll sound majory up and down. So, okay, so now I want you to leave gaps. It's very important for phrases. So if you watch a lead guitarist start a big solo, they'll play a little bit and they'll leave space because the gaps are as important as the notes. So I'll give you a little example of that. I might go, and then I'll hold it. Hold it a bit. I might have some air there, just nothing. And then a bit of space between two notes. Leave a gap. Hold on one note. Leave a gap. Run down the scale, leave a gap. So this is leaving a gap. Don't constantly play. You've got to know how to leave gaps because this will give you phrases. This is the key thing that a lot of great guitarists do. Okay, so I'm going to give you some chords. You ready? So leaving gaps. Don't be scared of just doing nothing. Leave gaps. Don't be scared of leaving gaps. Okay. Thumbs up or down to leaving gaps. Did you do it all right? Did you achieve it? Peter, did you leave the gaps?
I probably left a lot of gaps, Dave, actually.
Hey, that's good. You achieved the task.
Well,
Have you got
did.
the scale down? Have you got the scale down?
Yeah, just about.
Go on, let's have a little listen.
Oh, I've put myself on the spot now. Shit.
Yeah, you shouldn't have. Yeah, that's it. So you got the notes. Yeah, no worries. I'm just checking that you've got the notes. All right, so the next part of it is slide into notes. So I want you to focus on sliding here. So you can go from one note to the other. So say you're on the top string, the fourth string, sorry, and you're going 5 to 7. Give it a slide. You could go back, so hit the 7 and slide back to the 5. So, you know, Wish You Were Here. Loads of slides in it, like blues guitar. So, so do a little few notes and then slide and then leave a gap. Okay? So you're starting to make what you're doing a bit more interesting now. So you could pick on a couple of notes that you want to slide. You know, if you're unsure, just say, right, I'm going to build myself to the first string. And when I get to that 5 and 7, I'm going to slide at that point. So slide. Okay? So I'm going to give you some chords. So implementing sliding. Okay, cool. Sliding. Okay, I'll make sure you've got all these in a list, and I'll give you a backing track as well, so you can just focus on each device and then try and mix it all up in your own practice. Okay, so bending a note. So bending a note, you can do a half tone or a full tone. So if you're bending a note, say you're bending this note here, the third note, you've got to bend it so it sounds like the next note up. So you might want to play the third note and the fourth note. So listen to the 3, and then you've got to bend it to sound like the 4th. It's pretty hard to do on an acoustic, but maybe if we did this 7th fret on the 1st string there, and it's got to sound like the 8th fret. So you might want to listen to the 7 and the 8th fret. So you could bend too much, and then it sounds a bit out of the scale. So you got to reference the note above, then go back a step, and make sure your bend sounds like the next note up. Okay. So some notes might not work because you got to do a full bend, and it's pretty hard on an acoustic. So the notes you can do half bends are the ones where it's right next to it. So here on this 2nd string, you could bend that 7th fret there to sound like the 8th. So I might do a few little notes. See, I'm bending to that 8 rather than playing it. Okay, so try some bending notes, see what you think. This might be a little bit harder than the other devices we've done, so just give it your best shot. So mixing it all up. So bits of slides, bits of bends. Leaving gaps as well. Okay, so what about bending notes? Was that successful or not? Go on, Alina. Do you want to tell me what your question is?
Yes, I didn't manage to bend.
Yeah, it's very hard on. Yeah. What you got to do is, it's hard on an acoustic, and I would use a couple of. I would use some fingers to support the note. So I wouldn't just bend there with my 3rd finger. I would use these fingers, all 3 there, so you got strength. Scrunch them all together like that. Scrunch your fingers together rather than, yeah, that's it, and then bend the note. Yeah, I mean, this is a very hard one to do on acoustic, so don't worry if you don't manage to bend the note. Yeah,
It doesn't sound bad with a little bend.
yeah, well, that's when you're doing a half bend, so
Yeah,
you
the
can get
half
away
bend.
with that. When you're doing a full bend over 2 frets, it's a bit harder. But don't worry about it. You're getting that. That looks good. It looks good. Okay, so let's work on the next one is larger interval jumps. So at the moment, you might just be going to the next note across. See? You might be just going like this. Do you know what I mean? So what I want you to do is think about the notes and jump to somewhere which is a bit of a leap. They're jumping notes. I might jump from the 8th fret to the 5th rather than having to hit the 7 on my way to that 5. So jumping about the place. Don't just settle for hitting the next note. So let's try jumping about the place. I'll give you some chords. So try some leaps. It might sound a bit dissonant, but the only way you're going to find out is when you experiment. So when you've got that down, you might want to mix it up with a bit of scales and then a bit of large leaps, a bit of leaving gaps, some slides. That's it, jumping about the place. You can come up with some very interesting melodies if you do some big jumps. Okay, excellent. So, how did you find the leaping? Was that new to anybody, or has anyone ever done that before? Yeah.
I love the leaping about.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Do you think Go on, Jimmy.
It feels like the only one that's quite easy to go wrong with, because it does sound wrong a few times, whereas everything else, if you're just going up and down, you just do little jumps about, you don't really go wrong with that. It's
Do you mean hitting duff notes that ain't in the scale?
well, they're both in the scale, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just the fact that your ears ain't adjusted to it because you've played the scales that much, that it's something new sounding that it might just seem off. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
So like your ears adjust to leaps. So
possibly.
and that major seventh note that you go into is the most dissonant note out of the major scale. So that could be why.
When you're skipping notes though, or larger intervals, I guess is the correct term. It changes it almost, or potentially change it almost to a pentatonic scale.
It can do, yeah, because
It makes it feels totally different.
Well, what happens is the pentatonic scale is within the major scale. So
Yeah.
if you are skipping out notes, it may feel a bit like a pentatonic scale. So, yeah, but it doesn't mean to say you got to then stick to the pentatonic notes and just run up and down there. I mean like take big leaps, bigger intervals.
What was the seventh note? Sorry, the seventh.
1,
C
2,
sharp?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh right, okay.
Seventh note up the scale.
Yeah.
Okay. There, that note. So the one just before the resolve. Okay. So let's have a look at vibrato. Now, I can see some of you doing this already, but some of you might never have done it. There's a couple of ways you could do it. You could do a fast vibrato by going up and down. So listen to this. So I'm shaking the note up and down. Or you could go side to side. So if you get your finger on a note, if you notice here, I'm not holding onto the fretboard. I just take the weight of my wrist to shake it side to side on the note. So side to side might be gives it a wobbly effect. So when you watch guitarists, they give that little bit of a vibrato. So whichever way you feel confident, whether it's side to side or up and down. Yeah, and you notice it with singers. When a singer sings the end of a line, they're like, ah. They got that shaky sort of voice that is vibrato, which gives just another element to the singing. All right, so I want you to do a little line, and I want you to end on a vibrato note, or you could start on it. Yeah, so a bit of a shaky hand. Let's get the scale on there. All right, I'll give you some backing. try and mix some of the other ideas in if you can remember some of the ideas, and then end it with a vibrato. It is a lot easier on an electric to be doing the vibrato as well, because the strings are thinner. Okay, so could you see the effects? Were you managing to get the vibrato effects? Okay, cool. Yeah, okay.
I was watching a thing with Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge. I think it's from a few bands, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying when the guitarist switched over in the band, he could tell which guitarist was playing because of the different ways people do vibratos. Because it's quite unique to each person.
yeah.
Everybody does it slightly differently.
It's totally unique. It's a feel thing. It's almost like your characteristic. Everyone will do vibrato different. It'll sound different. I do lots of different types of vibrato. Just you'll realize there's slower, really slow. There's very fast. There's lots of types. There's up and down. There's left and right. So they're all valid vibratos. So just double notes, just hitting 2 notes at a time. This could be a bit sketchy here, so what I would advise is maybe starting on this first note here, and just keeping that note down, and then just trying to play. So staying with that one note, you might want to, if you can't strum that. If you struggle to strum it, you could just pinch 2 notes. Yeah, you could use your finger. I'm sort of hiding my plectrum in my finger there. See that? So I can always, I'll show you. Am I? So yeah, see that I hide the plectrum there in my finger so I can pinch. And then you can bring it out when you need it. So then you could pick on another note. You might want to pick on this note here, and then just hit some notes. So you're keeping a note sustaining out, and you're playing round the other notes. I might pick on this 8th fret here. Some of this will sound dissonant, and some will sound nice, so you'll find out the notes that you like. So I'm just going to play, so just try pinching 2 notes at a time. So this is slightly a bit harder. It'll probably take a bit more working out in your own time. So pinching 2 notes, keep 1 note static, and try and move around. Remember to keep in the scale still. I'm just going to have a little listen to that one, because this is Adrian, do you want to just show me a bit of what you were doing without the backing, but just the type of ideas you were doing?
What, holding the note down?
Yeah, holding 1 note, but then trying to move to the others as well. Yeah. So you've always got a drone of the note happening. That's cool, that. Nice one. Alina, do you want to show me any? No, yeah?
Mine is going to be crap compared to...
Hey, don't worry. Everyone's at different levels. Don't worry about it.
This is like the first time I feel like soloing. It's like the first time. It's amazing.
First time what?
It's soloing, and I've never done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is creativity. There's no planning for this.
Yeah, okay. So
So you can keep that one. Pinch. Always pinch the first note.
And then
Yeah.
crap.
Lovely. Do you know what? That's fine. That's fine. And what you do is you'll just find the notes that fit together. It's just another element to put with everything else you've done. Roddy, do you want to show us a little bit of that? Go on, Roddy.
Yeah, I'm struggling a bit here. Okay.
All right.
Oh, hang on.
So that's gone out of the scale, so you want to be on the 5th. Oh yeah, nice. Lovely. I don't know if you know Don't Let Me Down by the Beatles. It does that. It does that sort of, that thing that you do. That's Don't Let Me Down, uses them kind of intervals. Nice, that's great, that's great. Honest, that's great. It's good to hear a few of you how you're getting on. And you all do it totally different as well. You know, and if it's new, don't worry. This is just an introduction into it, so you will develop these skills a lot more over time. So hammer on and pull offs. So let's take on the 3rd string, the 4th and 5th fret. So with your 1st and 2nd finger, so we can just practice simply a hammer on and pull off. So on the 4th fret, you hit it, hammer on with the 5th, and then pull the note off. So on the 3rd string, get on the 3rd string. Yeah, you might want to use your 1st and 2nd finger. That's it. So to hammer on, you've got to give it a bit of clout. You've got to hit it, and then to pull off the note, you've got to like almost pick it off with this finger. If you lift your finger off like that, see, it's got no volume. You've got to actively. Hammer on and pull offs create a smoothness to the sound. If I go like this, just picking every note, it sounds pretty robotic. If I hammer on and pull off, it's got a really smooth legato sound. Okay, so let's just have a look what we've done there. Let's reflect on this. So has anyone got any overall thoughts about what we've done in this session? Brian, do you want to tell me how you've taken to it? Is there any easy bits, hard bits?
No, I'm finding it really tough all the way through on this somehow. Yeah. It's the hardest bit of lessons we've ever had.
Yeah.
We've had a lot, but I'm not quite grasping this.
Well, the thing is, we haven't really spent a lot of time on each one of them.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. We just like done little snapshots.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
The thing is that if you understand each device that I'm saying and how it works, then it's for you to work on.
Oh yeah.
And it's a different thing, you know. You have these visions of I want to learn people's riffs, I want to learn people's songs, but people forget about the creativity, and that is the most rewarding part of being a guitarist.
Yeah, no, it's
so once
what
you
you're teaching us,
yeah.
What you're teaching is great. It's just taking a while to really understand what I'm trying to do and how to go about it, you know.
That's fine. That's good. It's good because if it was that easy.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to give up on it.
But once you grasp it, you'll have really good fun with it. You know.
Yeah.
It's something different. Jimmy, how have you got on with them devices? I'll just hear from a few of you.
Yeah, it's great. Love little bits like that. I think because you do it a lot in the songs, and well, while it's in a song and you've got the music there for you and everything, it's quite, you know, you follow it along and it's quite robotic and it's there.
Yeah.
But to play around with it and try and get it right, it's something I've tried fiddling before, but never got it right. It's never sounded quite right. It's always just sounded like me screeching.
Do you think it's sort of just solidified ideas you could do, or has it helped you sound already, do you think?
I think it needs a lot of practice with a lot of little bits, and I think even just doing the scales quickly in between to join together all the little flicky bits, I think that's some of the main bit. That's a lot of the musicality of it.
Yeah. And you'll realise it's all about doing it all in little bits. That's what makes the improvising interesting. And that's only, I've just shown you a handful of stuff. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of things you can do to make it sound interesting. So, okay, great. Okay, I want to have a little look. Has anyone got anything else they want to say about that? Or do you want to, shall we move on a bit? Go on, Rich.
Just want to say it is the gateway to fantastic individual creative soloing. Put all the hours you can into it, you'll be a great soloist. All the greats all started like this, not with Dave, but they started doing this thing.
I bet they bloody wish they did, though.
Do you know what, though? What I love about it, you put a backing track on, you just lose yourself, time just flies, and you can just be doing what you've taught us, and it sounds great. Honestly, I promise you. I mean, well, you know, I do it and the wife shouts up, "That's brilliant." I said, well, that's not even me, love. That's somebody else.
Normally I get a shoe thrown at me from a distance, so sounds very supportive, that. All right, so let's, I want to look at octaves on guitar. So some of you might know a little bit about this. So what is an octave? Can anyone just tell me briefly how would they view an octave?
Just the same note, but higher or lower, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you're on a piano and you start on a C, and you go up the piano, there's another C, and there's another C. So there's different pitches of the same note, and that's the same on guitar. So it's the same note but pitched higher. So why is it important to know your octaves? So you can be able to tell the name of every note on the guitar, believe it or not, if you know how to work out octaves. And it's important to, at some points, it is important for you to know the names of these notes. And it's not very hard to do either. So, and it'll guide you to what roots of the scales and chords you need to do. It'll guide you about your chords and your scales, and where to start them. Okay, so there's 3 different types of ways of playing an octave. So if we know here on the E string here, that's an E, the open E there. If we were to stay on that string, the next octave is 12 notes, so 12 frets away. And we know this from when we did the chromatic scale. Do you remember the chromatic scale is 12 notes? So you only have 12 notes. So if you play this note and the one on the 12th fret, you'll notice it's the same note, but an octave away. Yeah? So make sure it's the 12th note there, Peter. I can see you're on the, that's it there. So adjust your ear to it being the 12th. So that works on every string, really. On the A string there, the 5th string. If you play the 0 and play the 12th fret, you'll notice they all sound the same. So every note open is the same on the 12th fret. So that's an octave. That's exactly an octave away. Okay, so there's another way of playing an octave. So if you play the top string on the 5th fret there, let me just zoom in a little bit. Oh no, there's no point. So to achieve another octave, you go 2 strings down and then 2 strings across to your right. So you can see here, this first one is on the 5th fret on the top string there, that A. And if you notice, this one's on the 4th string, but on the 7th fret. So you can hear that. So Roddy, I can see that your little finger is not on the 4th string. So it's not, so that's it. And on the 5th fret, you'll hear it's the same note. So your ears will tell you if it's right or not. So if I was to do that in another place, if I was to do it on the C, which is on the 8th fret, see the 8th fret there on the top string? To achieve it, you'd have to go two strings down and 2 frets across. So you can play that everywhere. You hear it a lot in sort of bass lines. They use a lot of octaves in bass lines, pretty much. Okay, so let's do it on the. This works on the 5th string here. So if we're on the 5th string, 5th fret, that's a D. So you got to think 2 strings down, 2 strings across will give you your octave. Okay. And if we do it in another place, if we do it on the B there, on the 2nd fret, on the 5th string, and do the octave, you'd have to go 2 down and 2 across. And if you can hear that, there's your octave. Okay, so now when you go down onto the 4th string, so let's say the on the 5th fret of the 4th string, to gain the octave, you have to go 2 strings down but 3 frets across. Just because of the tuning on the guitar, because the B string here is sort of tuned backwards. You'll probably notice that when you're tuning your guitar. So if you play the G, which is on the 5th fret of the 4th string, and then that one's on the 8th fret. So Brian, I think you're on the 7th fret there. Your little finger, that's it on the. Now you can hear. Can you hear the difference between it? It's like resolved now, hasn't it? So if you're playing the 7th fret, it sounds like this. That's quite dissonant. And you hear with the 8th fret. So that's what an octave looks like when you're leading from the 4th string. See there, you got a 2 fret gap. If I was on the 5th string or the 6th string, it's just a 1 fret gap. Here, 2 fret gap. Let's try it from a different place. Okay, so here, you might play this note here, this, say this 2nd string 8th fret, and you might be thinking to yourself, well, what is that note? And you might trace down the octave below there, and then you might be like, well, I don't even know that note on the 4th string. So here's how I mentally traced it back when I was learning. See, I trace it all the way back to the 6th string. So you could play this note on the 2nd string, trace it back to its octave there, and then trace it back to its next octave. So ultimately, when I'm playing this note on the 8th fret, my mind will be looking at that octave and that octave, and I'll be looking at the 3rd fret on the top string. And you'll be able to hear that it's all the same note. So this is spread over 2 octaves. So that's how you're going to trace it back, the name of the note. All right, I'm going to throw out a little test here. I want you to play the 10th fret on the 2nd string. So the 10th fret there, on the 2nd string. So this 2nd string, I want you to trace back the octave. So you'd have to go 3 frets back and 2 strings up. And then from that 4th string, so you need to go 2 strings up. So you should be on the 4th string. Alina, I could see that you're, yeah. I don't think you, go to the very first note, again, the 10th fret. When you went back 3 steps, you got to move up 2 strings worth. So you should be on the 4th string now. Move up, no, you're on the right fret. So move up another string. So it's all right. I'll show you how to move to in this position here. So see, what you got to do is, if you're on the 2nd string, you got to move 3 frets back, and 2 strings up, not the next string, the one after that. So that'll give you the note, and then from there, when you're on this string, you move 2 back and 2 up. Now, if you're on that 10th fret 2nd string and you trace it back, has anyone traced it back? Have you got an answer what you think it might be? Go on, Roddy. Are you doing a Liverpudlian accent there?
A, not E,
Yeah.
A.
A? Yeah, so it's an A root. So that's nice that you can look at that note there, Roddy, and you can, with just a visual glance, you'll be able to work out, oh yeah, that's an A.
Yeah, that's a mystery unfolded.
Yeah, good. Oh, that's good to know. I will put this detail in for you to revise as well. So if you can do this as well on the on the first string as well. So you can trace it back from the first string. You can trace it back to here and then to the fifth string. But the first string here is the same as your sixth string, so that's a pretty easy one to suss out. So really the question is, you need to memorize. Let's see if I've written it here. Yeah. Really what you've got to do is you've got to learn your chromatic scale for the top two strings. If you learn the notes on the top string and learn the notes on the fifth string, you can trace these notes back. And I think we'll work on it next time. I might have to go next session. I might be going to view the kids' high school, so I might not be able to do it on that week. So I'll let you know because I can't miss it. All right. So here's another way to find a root very quickly. So say we're on the fifth string, fifth fret there. So instead of going two strings down and two across, which is what we learned before, that is a way of doing it. But you can also go three strings down and two frets backwards. Can you see that? So three strings down and two frets backwards. So play the notes, you should hear that. That's an octave. Yeah. So that's another way to get an octave. It's a valid way. I use that quite a lot. So if I'm on the F here, which is the 8th fret on the 5th string. So if you go up to the 8th fret on the 5th string, so you need to go hear that note, hear it, then go three strings down and then two back, and you should be able to hear. So you hear that's an octave. A good example of that is is from the C shape here. So if you're playing the C here on the 5th string, you know three strings down and two back is here. You'll see that within your C chord. Okay, so that's an octave. Okay, so you got three different ways to gain an octave, and it'll probably unfold. You'll probably come across a technique and you'll be like, I need to know where that octave is, and you've got some options then to deal with it.
I've got my own technique. I'm not going to say I invented it.
Come on.
So I use the pentatonic scale.
Mm-hmm.
So you know it's 5 notes, isn't it? So if you start in A, and just follow it down, then note 6 is your same octave again, isn't it? So A again.
Yeah, because there's only 5 notes. So by the time you get to your A, there you go. So really, you have got that knowledge there, but now I want you to start thinking about going direct without having to think of all the in-between notes.
Then also,
go on.
I also noticed that note you did, the A, I think it was, down on the, is that the same octave?
Well, yeah, use your ears. It's exactly the same.
Exactly the same pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
But they have slightly different tones, so they're both valid, different in their own ways. They sound different bend in them, and this as well. Oh, sorry, there. And then here, that's the same note as that one, but you can see it sounds a bit duller.
Right.
Even though it's the same pitch. All right, I'm going to have to leave it there because I've got a session straight after this and I don't want to be late for it. But how's tonight gone? Just a quick brief overview. Adrian, have you found anything useful?
All of it's useful.
Hey, because I know you're quite good at improvising, so I didn't know whether it would you'd done stuff like it before. Alina, how have you found tonight?
I loved it. It was amazing. It was the first time I was playing around. It was really nice.
And do you know what? Once you learn all the positions,
I waste a lot of my.
You can just do it everywhere. Exactly what you've done. So
thank you.
It's a lot. Yeah, well done, nice one. Roddy, how have you found tonight?
Really, really good. Yeah, it's opened up a lot of mysteries to me, and now it's that, as you said right at the beginning, it's actually starting to actually be confident that you can actually play notes from there up as well, not just those.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's
very,
great.
very good.
Wicked. Brian, how have you found tonight?
Very interesting day. A lot to work on.
Yeah, as
Just
always.
in here.
Just
This
in
version
in a
is-
year's time, this will be
I
so
know.
second nature. You will not even think of this.
It's a big
You'll just be
challenge.
doing
Good
it.
challenge, yeah.
Yeah, you'll
Yeah.
be doing it. Honest, you will, man. Peter.
Yeah, really interesting, Dave. But I do struggle by trying to improvise.
Yeah.
I mean, you showed us these techniques before, hammer on and slide and all this. But actually putting it into practice is something else.
I'm putting it in a creative way, not just learning someone
Yeah.
else's riff.
I
So
know, yeah.
hopefully the little techniques we've learnt over other people's riffs will impact this now. So nice. So Rich, how have you found tonight?
I'm climbing a mountain and you give me a leg up. Brilliant, brilliant. Absolutely love it.
Oh, wicked.
Well
Nice
done.
one, man. Jimmy, have you been fine tonight?
Just need to learn all the scales and positions now so I can play around with them all.
I've planned it all, mate. It's all, you don't have to think of it. It's in the pipeline.
That's
you just
good.
attend
I
and
was
it's
getting
all
worried
there.
thinking about it.
No, don't worry. One stage at a time. I was actually going to do it this week, but on the last minute I thought, no, I need to teach you what to do with the scale. So I literally drafted this lesson plan like an hour before the session.
Teaching us to run before we can do the walking.
Exactly, and that's a big mistake.
It's good though, it's fun.
All right, I better go because I don't like being late for sessions. So
Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
Dave.
I'll see you all later.
Cheers.
Nice to see you
Cheers.
all.
Cheers.
Great fun.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Right.